Let's get started. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome. Glad to have you here. So, want to talk today ultimately about your job. Um, I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about, and I thought, I guess the most important thing is just the fundamentals, the basics. And I was thinking about my first several years in the business of real estate, especially the first four, and really the first year, and how challenging it was. It was certainly not as easy as I expected it to be. And I didn't make anywhere near as much money as I wanted to. And had I known then what I know now, not in terms of skill sets, but just, the clarity about, what the job really is, had I known that from the very beginning, I know that my outcome that first year, especially, and those 4 years, would have been dramatically different. I mean, it would have been so much better than having everything in my car packed there because I couldn't afford rent, because that's what I did for about a month. But I remember that first brokerage that I was with, gang. The manager told me that I was going to be wildly successful, and he shared with me the things that I should be doing. And he had me focusing ultimately on marketing. He had me focusing on putting together postcards and flyers and bus bench ads and shopping cart ads. And he had me focused on marketing. In other words, what he said is making certain that the marketplace knew that I was there, so that they would reach out to me and want to use me or work with me when it came to buying or selling real estate. Well, as you might imagine, that didn't happen, because that's not the way real estate works. And which really fascinates me, because I'm not certain why a guy who was in the business for as long as this man was, that he didn't get that he thought, for whatever reason, that somebody new in the business should be taught the finer points of marketing. Gang, real estate is not a marketing position. And I watch so many agents want to become experts at marketing, and they create their own signs, they create their, the logo and the name of the team, and the team usually consists just of them, right? I did that. I remember it was like John Ciet and Associates. What associates? There was nobody else. It was just me. But he coached me to do that. Well, I watch agents doing that, and ultimately, when I watch agents do that, it tells me that fundamentally they don't understand what their job is. And here's what I would say to you: in order to do your job, you need to know what your job is. And I see so many agents not doing their job, and I gotta believe it's because they really don't know what the job is, or they haven't bought off on the idea of what their job is. Because, gang, I'm just here to tell you, your job is not to become an expert in marketing. It's not. The highest paid real estate agents are not experts at marketing. I don't know a thing about marketing, quite frankly, other than this: make certain you turn it over to somebody who knows what they're doing. But in my career, when I was finally successful at real estate, after those first 4 years, it was interesting. When I shifted my focus from marketing in those first 4 years to actually doing my job, in the next 6 years, I became a millionaire. I had $1 million in the bank because I finally figured out what my job was. So my question for you is, would you like to know what your job is? Now, for some of you, you know what your job is. For some of you, you're still struggling, and you say, well, I don't quite know, or I'm trying to figure it out, or I know what it is, but I'm learning the skills. Look, whatever your situation is, I think that clarity creates power. The more clear we are about what the job is, and then you just simply go out and take action, the better off you're going to be. I see agents who are brand new in the business who outproduce agents who've been in the business for decades, because they have a clear idea as to what the job is, and they actually do it. I'm going to repeat that. I know agents in this company in Everest, both in Utah and California, who are brand new in the business, their first year, and many in their second year, who are doing more than agents who've been in the business for decades, because they're simply doing the job. So when you're clear about what the job is and then you do it, you're going to get great results, because the fundamentals are always the thing to rely on, always the thing to lean on, always the thing to build your foundation on. So I want to talk this morning just about prospecting basics. I want to make certain that you recognize that that is your job. See, I wish that Jerry, my first manager, had said to me, John, your job is not to market. It's not to figure out what your card should look like, or your sign, or what postcards you should be sending out. Your job is to talk to people. You should be knocking on doors. You should be picking up the phone and calling people. That's what you should be doing, John. I wish he had told me that. Now, some of you are saying, well, yeah, but I don't like that answer. Well, I don't think I would have liked the answer either at the time, but it was the truth. And the sooner we acknowledge the truth and leverage it, like lean into it, the sooner we're going to get the results that we want. Listen, gang, the real estate job that you've signed up for, the business that you've opened, it doesn't care what you think the job should be. The rules are the rules are the rules are the rules. The rules are the rules, and you can't change them. So the sooner you acknowledge the rules and just simply succumb to the rules, abide by the rules, the sooner you're going to get the results that you want. You know, it reminds me, this was, gosh, probably, we're going on probably 10 years ago. I remember Heidi Castaigne sitting down with me, an agent who joined the company many years ago, brand new in the business. She was a rookie. And she said to me, she said, John, I want to make $250,000 my first year. Now, that wasn't the first time that somebody had said that to me. I mean, agents all the time say, I want to make a 6-figure income, or I want to make $250,000, $500,000. And she said, is that realistic? And I said, well, first of all, I don't like the word realistic. So let's just throw that out. That's not even in my vocabulary, in my lexicon. I don't like the word realistic. Is it possible? Yes, it's possible. But you're going to have to do, I said to her, Heidi, you're going to have to do exactly what I share with you. And most real estate agents, new licensees, when they come to me and say, well, I want to make a 6-figure income, and I will say, okay, great, then you need to do these things. They say they're going to do it, and then they don't, right? But Heidi committed. She said, no, I promise you I will do it. I said, okay. I said, here's the thing, Heidi. I promise you this. If you'll do 80% of what I say, or you'll do it 80% of the time, you'll get 100% of what you want. And she said, okay, I'll do it. Well, the cool thing is this, after working with her for a year, working with her on a weekly basis in the coaching sessions and showing her what it is that she needed to do, she did it 80% of the time. And as a result, that first year in the business, Heidi made about $240,000. She closed somewhere in the mid 30s in terms of sides closed transactions. She closed on around 35 homes in her first year, gang, never having any previous real estate experience. Why is that possible? Because I covered with Heidi the fundamentals of her job, and then she did that. So I'm going to just very quickly, I'm going to give you the fundamentals of your job. What is your job as a real estate agent? Number one, it is to talk to people. So if you look back at last week, or what you would consider to be, if last week wasn't your typical week, because sometimes I'll say that and agents will say, well, last week wasn't a normal week. Well, I want you to look at a normal week, what you consider to be a normal week for you in real estate. In that normal week of real estate, did you have set aside the time to talk to people? Were you calling people, knocking on doors? Were you reaching out to people proactively? I don't mean on social media. I don't mean sending postcards. I'm talking about literally proactively picking up the phone or knocking on doors and seeing people face to face. Did you do that? And if you didn't do that, then you didn't do your job, gang. I want you to recognize that. In the quote unquote real world, as people say, if you show up and you decide you're going to change your job description, let's say that you're hired to, let's just make it really simple. You were hired to stuff envelopes, but you decided instead of stuffing envelopes that you were going to surf the web to find out ways that were more efficient at stuffing envelopes. And you spent your entire day doing that on your first day on the job. Do you think your employer would be impressed? And the answer, of course, is no. If you continue to do that and didn't stuff envelopes, do you think you would continue to have the job? And of course, the answer is no. Well, real estate agents, because they're their own boss, technically don't get fired. But what they end up doing is going broke because they don't do your job. And when you don't do your job, gang, in the real world, what happens? You don't get paid. And the only way to get paid ultimately in real estate is to create a business that is predictable and duplicable, where you can predictably and duplicably get the outcomes that you want. In other words, to get a new buyer, to get a new seller, to get the home listed, or to get the buyer broker agreement signed and then show the buyer property. You don't get those opportunities if you're not creating the opportunity, first of all, to find those people, meaning prospecting. So in terms of your job, number one, it's talking to people, it's prospecting. And you may not like that answer, but gang, if you want to be successful in real estate, You have to do that. So rule number one, above all else, talk to people. Number two, make certain that you're following up with those people. What I watch historically is agents who do prospect, the thing that most of them are not good at is following up with the leads that they generate. And here's the thing, 75% of the business that is available to you through prospecting will only become available to you through follow-up. So I want you to think about that. You eliminate 75% of your opportunity if you're not following up with the leads that you find. If you'll follow up with those leads that you find, you're going to massively expand the opportunities that you will find in your marketplace. So number one, talk to people. Number two, follow up with those people, because initially people aren't necessarily ready to do anything. And so we've got to make those calls. And I remember years ago having a conversation with one of our top producing agents, exceptional at the process of getting FSBOs and expireds to list with him. And I asked him, I said, how many times do you have to follow up with a lead before they commit to actually meeting with you and signing a contract? He said, it takes somewhere between 5 and 7 times. Now, this guy was exceptionally good. He was exceptionally good because he was consistent at following up with his leads. And he knew that he had to follow up consistently 5 to 7 times. That was the sweet spot between the 5th and 7th call when they would finally agree to meet with him. Now, I want you to think about that. Do you exhibit that sort of patience in the process of prospecting? See, if you're not, I'm just here to tell you, you're eliminating 75% of the potential that you have available to you. See, most real estate agents will say, well, I tried that prospecting thing. I called FSBOs, I called expired, I called my SOI, I called just sold, whatever the source is. And they say, it just didn't work for me. Well, here's the thing, gang, it does work. The challenge is that you have to be consistent with it. You have to stick with it. It's like a diet. The diet industry is billions of dollars annually, billions. And the reason it's billions of dollars annually, and there are hundreds of different high-profile diets, is because people don't stick with them. Every diet works. They all work. The challenge is that the people who are trying them don't work. They don't stick with the plan. Real estate works, gang. The fundamentals are the fundamentals. The fundamentals in real estate today are no different than when I got into the business 30 years ago. Your job is to prospect, is to generate leads. And then number two is to follow up with those leads, to incubate those leads. I want you to think about it. It's like a mother hen. She lays the egg. She doesn't lay the egg and then just abandon it, forget where she put it. She lays it in the nest and then she tends it. She stays with it. She incubates it and she waits until it hatches and turns into a chick. So then it turns into a chicken. We have to do the same thing. Your job is to go out and find those eggs and then to incubate them. If you'll do that, gang, you're going to increase your chances of success in this business exponentially. And then the third thing is this, in terms of your job, is to set appointments and pre-qualify. So I've got a question for you. Are you waking up every single day with the intention, and I use that word specifically, intention? Have you set the intention that you're going to set an appointment every single day? I know that may seem like an overwhelming thing to say, set an appointment every single day. Gosh, I didn't even set an appointment last week or last month. I'm struggling to set appointments. Well, you're struggling to set appointments, I would venture to guess, because you're not prospecting consistently. You're not setting aside the time to prospect for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and calling through a list, a database, whether it's your Sphere or SOI, your FSBOs or expireds in the marketplace, or just listed, just sold. My suspicion is that if you're not setting appointments, right, and you're not and you're not following up with people, it's because you're not doing the first thing, which is prospecting. You have to have leads in order to follow up. And in order to set appointments, you have to talk to people, right? It's just the way it works. So setting an appointment every single day, having the intention of doing that. Look, Michael Jordan, when he was playing basketball, or Kyrie Irving, who's playing basketball now, or LeBron James, or any basketball player out there, when they take the shot game, they have the intention that they're going to make it. They don't throw that basket up there expecting that they're going to miss. They throw that basketball up there expecting they're going to make it. But here's my question for you. Do they make the basket every time? And the answer is no, they don't. But do you think that prevents them from making or taking the next shot? And of course, the answer is no, because they're professionals. What they understand is the more shots they take, the more chances they get of actually making the basket and scoring a point. Do you have that mentality? Do you have the intention that every single day you're going to set an appointment? And even if you don't, that's okay, because even the best, every time they try, don't set an appointment. They don't make the basket, but it doesn't mean they stop. They keep doing it. They lean into the system. And because they lean into the system, a proven plan, it's proven that if you'll do it over time, it will work. Heidi Castaigne, $250,000 her first year. We have multiple agents in this company now who are doing this, brand new in the business. Are you leveraging the fundamentals? And then the last thing is, after setting appointments, then just presenting to the people, going out and talking to them. See, gang, that's your job. Number one, to talk to people, generate leads. Number two, to follow up with those leads, to incubate them and convert them to the point where they agree to meet with you at an appointment, to sit down with them at the kitchen table or in your conference room if it's a buyer, and get them to sign a buyer broker agreement. And of course, then number four, to actually present to them. See, if you're doing that on a daily basis, gang, you're going to be so far ahead of the competition. The market is shifting, and you all know it. You can feel it. Interest rates are going up. They're at 5%. Many of you have never, in terms of being in the business, have never seen interest rates this so high. Some of you are young enough that you probably don't even remember interest rates being this high, because you really weren't paying attention to them until you got into real estate. Well, gang, I can tell you, I remember interest rates being at 18, 19%. Okay. The market is shifting. And my question for you is, are you going to know how to respond? See, the agents who are going to succeed, not just survive, but thrive through the coming months and years as the market shifts, which it is, and it's going to continue to do, would be those who lean on the fundamentals, who know their job and do it, and actually prospect. That is job number one. So what I want to do here, gang, with the time that we have remaining, let's just check and see what we've got. We've got 11 minutes, which is plenty of time. There are four things that I want you to consider. First of all, number one, I just want you to, this is just a bonus item here. Gang, please believe in yourself. Know that you have the capacity to pick up the phone and talk to another human being. I know you do, because you talk to people every single day. You've talked to multiple people today. I think what we have a tendency to do in real estate is that we start to forget that we know already how to communicate with people, because somehow we think that it's different when it comes to real estate. And the fact is, it's not. It really isn't. You're just going to have a conversation with somebody. But there are four fundamental things that I want you to keep in mind as it relates to having these conversations, okay? Just have faith in yourself and believe that you can actually do it. You didn't learn how to swim by watching other people do it and practicing outside of the pool. You didn't learn how to ride a bike by watching your brother or sister do it or your friend do it. You got on the bike and you fell many, many times. Any skill that you currently have that you're great at, you didn't learn by watching others do it. You learn by actually trial and error, by trying it and failing and trying it and failing and trying it and failing and doing that over and over again until you figured it out. Prospecting is no different. And the cool thing is that you can be brand new in the business, pick up the phone, and still make appointments, because I watch agents do it every single day. So the four things that I want to share with you here just in closing. Number one, as it relates to prospecting, be present, gang. Be present. See, be where you are, especially in today's world. We are so challenged to be present, to be focused, to be in the moment, because there are so many things that are competing for our attention. Gang, one of the number one keys to success in prospecting when you're calling somebody or you're knocking on doors is to be present and be in the moment. And what does that mean exactly? This is what it means. And I want you to write this down. Stop focusing on yourself and start focusing on other people. Start focusing on the person on the other end of the line, at the doorstep, at that door. Here's what I know. When we get in our own heads, that's when the wheels start to fall off of the car. That's when fear starts to rear its ugly head. But when we get out of our own head, we stop focusing on ourselves and we start focusing on other people. That's when the fear goes away. And that's when we can do what we normally do, which is just have a conversation. So be present. Be present means focus on the other person. Stop worrying about how you feel. It's very selfish. when we focus on ourselves and worry about, well, are they going to reject this? Or how do they feel about us? What are they thinking? All of that is self-focus. And it's very destructive to your own self-confidence, but it's also very destructive to the opportunity to have a great conversation with another human being who really does want to have a conversation with you in most instances, if you're just simply going to be normal about it. The problem is, for so many real estate agents, they're not normal about it. They're weird. It's awkward. It's odd. And so when they reach out and talk to people, then of course it's awkward and it doesn't feel right. And why would I want to continue to do that? And why would they want to be on the phone with you? You wouldn't. They wouldn't. So the key to that, of course, then is to be present. And be present means stop focusing on yourself and start focusing on them. Put away your phone. Put away all the distractions. Put away all the thoughts and concerns that you have, and just simply focus on that human being that you intend to reach out to, or whose door you intend to knock on. And think about nothing but them. And ask questions that are specific to them and give them an opportunity to talk. And regardless of how they respond, if you will just simply listen and not react, but respond to what they say, you're going to have a much better conversation. So number one, be present. And be present means to focus on them. Number two is to have energy. Write that word down. Write the word down, energy. Yeah, we've got to be energetic. I watched so many real estate agents where their normal level of energy is if I could show you, it's way down here. I can't go any lower because the camera doesn't go that low, but it's really close to the floor. Okay. Most people don't have a high enough energy to be effective salespeople. Most people don't. I don't. My default energy, gang, is not high enough to be a great leader or a great salesperson. My default level of energy. But what I've done is I've trained myself to increase my level of energy and excitement when I'm interacting with people or when I'm presenting. See, you wouldn't like me presenting to you or having a conversation with you with my normal level of energy. You'd say, well, gosh, John, you're kind of boring. I've learned to, on demand, as needed, increase my level of energy, because here's the thing, nature abhors a vacuum. You don't like negative energy. You don't like the lack of energy. Neither do I. Nobody does. What we are attracted to is a high level of energy, to excitement, to positivity, to a smile, to eye contact, right? To movement, to motion, right? I mean, isn't that what excitement is? I mean, when atoms start to shake and move and they get heated up, well, that's really what we consist of, ourselves, right? When we start to get excited and move, right? That's when things start to happen. So we've got to be energetic. If you were to take a milk jug, one of those plastic milk jugs, a gallon jug, and if it were empty, and if I were to smash it, compact it as much as possible, right? And then put the cap back on top of it, what would happen to it? And the answer is nothing would happen to it, because with the lid on it, there's no way for it to expand. But if I were to take the lid off of it, of course, what would happen to the jug? It would start to expand. Why is that? Because as a matter of physics, what ends up happening is that the outside air wants to get inside. In other words, it wants to fill that void. It wants to fill that jug up again. It's basic physics, gang. It goes back to what I said. Nature abhors a vacuum. It doesn't like negative energy. It wants to fill it, right? Well, your prospects are no different. They want to feel it, F-E-E-L, not F-I-L-L. They want to feel it. They want to feel that positive energy. They want to feel that excitement. And gang, if you're not calling up with energy and excitement, right? Instead, you're calling up as Eeyore, like, oh no. Right? You're not going to have people respond positively. People want to be around people who are excited. And you know that. Ever go to a party and see the excitement and the fun? And you'll hear certain groups who are like having a blast. You can hear it. They're laughing. It seems like that's the epicenter of the party. And then you'll see others or even individuals who are sitting by themselves and like not much is going on. Well, where do you want to spend your time? Like, life is all about energy, gang. It's all about energy. And if you want to have an energetic outcome, if you want an exciting outcome, well, you've got to bring an energetic version of yourself to the situation. So when you're prospecting, notice this. I'm standing up so I can use my arms. So I've opened up my diaphragm. I do that anytime I speak. You will never see me speak sitting down. I'm just not going to do that. When I present, quote unquote, present, I'm going to be standing up. Well, gang, when you're prospecting, you're presenting. You should be standing up. You should never sit down when you prospect. It is so much more difficult to bring the amount of energy that you need to any situation when you sit down. So stand up and smile and use your body, that gift that God has given you, to impact, to deliver your message to others. Only 7% of our communication comes through the words we use. The rest is going to come through our body language and our tone of voice. And those two things, our body language and tone of voice, are impacted dramatically when we stand. So gang, be energetic, stand, and smile. And then the third thing is this: be scripted. So many real estate agents are afraid of using a script. They say it feels disingenuous. It doesn't feel real. I feel like I'm being fake. Well, I understand that, and that feels very normal. But those statements, it's fake, it's disingenuous. All of those statements are very self-focused. Because here's what I know, gang. If you learn a powerful script, a script that would allow you to be confident, to deliver a very confident message, of course, that confidence would translate into confidence for the person who's listening to you. Because see, you can't give to others what you don't possess. You pick up the phone and call somebody with the lack of certainty. I'm afraid, right? They're going to feel very uneasy about that. And they're not going to want to be on the call. But if you call up with confidence, not arrogance, but with confidence, that confidence you exhibit translates into confidence for them to stay on the phone. Well, the only way ultimately to do that is to know what you're going to say and to deliver it in a very confident way, which means that you have to have a script, you have to practice it and deliver it as if it is just, it's second nature. And the best presenters, because gang, that's what you are, you're a presenter. If you don't acknowledge that, if you don't want to admit that, if you want to reject that, you do so at your peril, because you are presenters. And presenters need to learn scripts. Here's why. Because your clients or potential clients have scripts. They all say the same thing. They all have the same objections. And when are you going to learn to come up with a very powerful answer to those objections? There are no new objections in real estate, insofar as I can tell, in the last 30 years. For as long as I've been in the business, the objections are still the same. So if you will learn how to be scripted, you will bring a very powerful, confident version of yourself to the prospecting conversations. And that will permit the person on the other end of the call or the conversation, if it's face-to-face, to relax. And that is the number one thing that initially you can offer anybody in this potential relationship, is their opportunity to feel relaxed and ultimately to feel confident in your ability to lead them through the process of buying or selling real estate. It comes, gang, through being scripted. For example, this conversation that I'm having with you, do you realize the number of times that I've had this conversation? I don't have to pause for a moment's notice to think about, gosh, what am I going to say next? What did I want to say? Gang, if I were doing that and I were umming and ahhing the entire time, number one, you'd start to feel embarrassed for me. Number two, you wouldn't want to be on this call. You'd go find something else to do. Gang, I am highly, highly scripted. But the reason it doesn't sound scripted is because I have done it so many times. I've practiced the way in which I deliver it. So it comes across very natural, very normal. And it doesn't mean that it's not my message. It doesn't mean that it's disingenuous. It doesn't mean that I'm not sincere. I'm very sincere. That's why I've committed the message to memory, because it's that important. So that when I do deliver it to you, it's delivered in a powerful way so that you actually accept the message. Because if I have a powerful message, but I deliver it with a lack of power, you're not going to listen, and neither will your prospects. So gang, you've all been given a script book. Every agent who's with this company has a script book. You should be leveraging that script book. You should be finding the scripts that you use or should be using for your targeted sources. FSBO's expired, just listed, just sold, your SOI, whatever your targets are, and memorize those scripts, including memorizing the listing outline in the listing script. If you'll do that, I promise you, you're going to bring to the table or to that doorstep or to the phone call such a powerful leader that people will have a hard time not choosing you versus the competition. Because the number one thing that will distinguish you from your competition is not going to be your cards, not going to be your signs, not going to be the car that you drive, not going to be the way that you dress. It's going to be the way in which you communicate with that person and how you ultimately make them feel. And a strong, powerful script practiced and delivered effectively is the key to that. I remember when I was new in the business and I was failing at a very high level, and I finally found this mentor, this leader who showed me the importance of a script. I watched him initially as he did it, and I thought, that just doesn't sound good. It sounds awkward. It sounds disingenuous. And I watched him time after time be highly successful, closing transactions, making mega dollars. And I finally decided he knows what he's doing, apparently, begrudgingly. And so I started to behave like he did. I started to use his words. I started to use his scripts. And what is so interesting is this, that over the course of the next couple of years, I became the number one salesperson. And ultimately, I became a multimillionaire because I learned how to be scripted, gang. Such a key, pivotal part of being an effective prospector is learning the script. And then the final thing I want to share with you is this. Learn the basic skill sets of prospecting. There are basic skill sets. Skill sets such as repeating and affirming. We're not going to go over these. What I want to do is refer you to your script book. Gang, every answer that you need to be a great communicator, to figure out how to prospect at a very high level, to get great results, to become a top producer, whether to you that means 12 transactions, 24, 36, 48, 60, 72. I don't care what the number is. All the answers to the test in real estate are in that prospecting book. And the skill sets that you need in terms of prospecting are in that book, if you will look them up. The repeating and affirming, the transitional statements, the sound bites, the tie downs, the pattern interruptions, all of those, the level shifts, all of those are contained within that book. Every single day, gang, this business tests you. And some of you are not studying out of the book. When are you going to start just cracking open the book, reading the book, memorizing what's in the book, practicing what's in the book, so that it becomes you? You don't have to worry about being wooden. You don't have to worry about being disingenuous. Don't have to worry about it feeling awkward. It just becomes you, and that's who you are. You become this powerful, amazing, communicative leader who knows what to say, when to say it, how to say it. But all of this, gang, starts with you ultimately recognizing and knowing what your job is. It's to prospect. And if you will do that and make that your number one focus every single day, it doesn't matter what this market does over the coming weeks or months or years. Because, gang, I promise you this, listen to me what I'm saying here. The market is changing. And if you don't change your approach, you're going to go the way of the dodo bird. And if you haven't checked, there are no dodo birds on this planet. Gang, I watched the last time there was a significant shift in the marketplace and 50% of the agents got out of the business. Now, I'm not saying that it's going to be what we saw in 2007, 8, and 9. But there is a shift that's happening. And those who lean on the fundamentals, recognize what their job is, and do their job will not only survive, but they're going to thrive. Because in the market that's coming, in the days that are coming, economically, politically in this country, your clients or potential clients are going to need a strong leader, and strong leaders are strong communicators, and strong communicators in this business of real estate are strong prospectors, and strong prospectors prospect evil every single day. So put together a schedule that recognizes what your job is, and every single day go out there and lead. Talk to people. Stop focusing on yourself and worried about how you feel, and start putting your head and your thoughts into the heads of other people, and be there for them because they need you. They need you. All right, gang. Enjoyed the conversation. Hopefully it was helpful. I am so blessed to be part of this organization and to help lead you to the next level. I take it very seriously and absolutely enjoy it. So I'm glad that we got to spend some time together. Have a great day. Have a great week, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.